Do you remember the first day of school? Laying out your clothes the night before? You were awake before the alarm clock. You couldn't get out of the door fast enough. You rushed into the school to see your friends for the first time since summer. Hallways bubbling, kids everywhere. You get to your first class and you see your best friend saving a seat just for you. It wasn't just another day. It was the first day of school.
For millions of students, that energy, that excitement, right? It's been lost. And with it, students have lost an important part of what made the learning environment enjoyable. By leveraging technology, however, we found an innovative way to make STEAM education, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math, meaningful, engaging, and very fun.
We are chemists.
We are Black women.
We are STEAM educators. We are Detroit.
We know our minds, powered by our creative talents, gave us the confidence to create a space for Detroit youth who need to see someone like us. The designer who has an engineering degree, or me, a chemist who trained her voice through music, or
me, a chemist who uses STEM creativity and activism to transform the fashion industry, are examples of the success of STEAM.
Yes. In the midst of this pandemic, it became very clear that education would change. The change would be driven by technology and how quickly ed tech companies could pivot. Even more importantly, parents had to find new ways to ensure their children were being adequately educated, and this was particularly a challenge for STEAM education, especially when youth are typically doing inquiry-based, exploratory activities with their instructors in a classroom.
So how did we implement this? We partnered with universities and community organizations this summer to power summer camps all across the country. Our students received all materials needed for the STEM and STEAM camp right to their doorsteps. We also developed customized curricula in-house that meets Michigan educational standards for middle and high school students. We taught over 20 hours virtually to assist our partners with delivering high-quality STEM and STEAM learning to students, with specialized curriculum on how COVID-19 affects the immune, respiratory, and cardiovascular system to over 70 high school students. We watch students complete projects in real time and show us how they work, all through their computer screen. Now, research shows that students exposed to the arts, drama, music, and dance excel at reading, writing, and math. Research also shows that integrating the arts with other subjects can help raise the achievement levels. Greater arts education may lead to fewer disciplinary issues, high attendance, and higher graduation rates. In the book Originals, it describes the unique combination of a broad and deep experience being critical for creativity. Researchers from Michigan State University compared scientists from 1901 to 2005 with typical scientists of the same era. The Nobel Prize winners were dramatically more likely to be involved in the arts than the less accomplished scientists. 15 researchers at Michigan State discovered the odds of Nobel Prize winners relative to typical scientists. They were 2 times more likely to be involved in music, such as playing an instrument, composing, conducting. They were 7 times more likely to be involved in the arts, such as drawing, painting, printmaking, sculpting. They were 7.5 times more likely to be involved in crafts, such as woodworking and mechanics, electronics, glass blowing. They were 12 times more likely to be involved in writing, such as poetry, plays, novels, short stories, essays, and popular books. And they were 22 times more likely to be a performer, such as an amateur actor, dancer, or musician. And remember, nobody built like you, you design yourself. And it was reported that artistic engagement develops the talents necessary to being a more creative scientist. STEM, as it is typically studied, practiced, and taught, focuses more on a linear, logical thinking. Art, on the other hand, depends on other systems of thought, kinetic and associative thinking. With these statistics in place, we understand there is a need for students, teachers, and community members to foster environments with youth to obtain the help they need in STEM. We need you to believe it too.
You know, they seem like two different worlds, STEM and the arts, but they aren't. In fact, they work better together than apart. We can't tell you the number of people who ask, why STEAM and not just STEM, or doesn't STEM inherently imply being creative and coming up with new ideas? Not necessarily. The arts must be integrated. Just like I learned to sing Italian arias growing up. Oh, del mio dolce ardor, morphine. Or some Lauryn Hill, right? Girls, you know you better watch out. How we gonna win when it ain't right within? Huh? We make it simple. We create an active, in-depth learning experience, including the arts, along with checking for understanding. One of our favorite experiments this summer was when we built a model of the heart and built stethoscopes via our COVID-19 and the cardiovascular system lesson. We related this to the pandemic, provided the materials for the students, and allowed them to be creative in how they decorated their stethoscopes. Students took pre- and post quizzes to assess their knowledge of how COVID-19 could impact the cardiovascular system, and you know what? They improved their knowledge how much? By 39%.
Now this all sounds great, but sadly, high school students in the US, not even considering the staggering number of minority and underrepresented students in Metro Detroit, lost interest at a 1 in 4 rate in STEM by the time they graduated. And if students decided to pursue a STEM-related career in college, many of those students change majors. We also need to account for the high drop-off rate of girls and their interest in STEM once they reach high school. It drastically decreases. So as new tech is developed, we have to start thinking and considering equity at all costs. How are we innovating enough to make sure we include underrepresented groups in STEAM? This is why we encourage you to support initiatives to ensure there is true equity in STEAM. We must innovate education so that all students have access to it. Only then will advanced degrees in STEAM no longer be accomplishments, but the standard. Thank you.